welcome to another X Mid showdown. Let's make the most of this X Mid. So today we've still got the X Mid 1P solid inner pitted against the Sil Poly Mountain Laurel Designs Trailstar and the inner. This inner is a Cuban fibre base, so it is a tiny bit lighter, but the lightweight ground sheets that they're giving these days, there's so little in it. So the Trailstar with the inner is 850 grams and the Durston X Mid is 950 grams. So this time we have a clear winner with weight with the Trailstar and inner. But they both need pegs and they both need poles. So straight away, Trailstar 1-0. We'll just quit there, I think. We'll quit while we're ahead. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Trailstar wins. Okay, so the first thing to do is to peg out this corner, and we're going to do it like they say, mind the molehills, and that corner. So we're going to do it, you know, fairly tight. I still don't get this halfway thing here, and it also doesn't actually make sense to me, because unless you've got those two over there, hello, hello Dan, it's me again. Unless you've got those two, hello again, at exactly 45 degrees, you know, if you've got those two out, and then you try and get this one based on those two when they're out, I don't see how this halfway folding thing to get it accurate makes any sense. Comment below. And now I will admit I've not brought my abacus with me, but that does look pretty rectangular to me. The only bit that maybe isn't is that one there. So, and to be fair, pulling it, it doesn't want to come over much more. Maybe we can just tighten it up. So they do say, and we're just going to do what they say. This one's already at a 45-degree angle, so we get that one tight, and then so that's what they say. They say to make sure they're all tight. I'm not absolutely convinced that that's, I mean, that's rectangular there, but I have to say I'm not convinced that that's rectangular there, so I don't quite know what's going on there, but we've got it tight. And then what we need to do, they say, is you get your walking pole and you simply insert oh God, how long did that take, Tony? And then you insert it up the Kyber. Oh, good. Ooh, bugger, that's quite tight. Okay, all right, okay, yeah, not too bad. Okay, credit where credit's due. Kind of worked. He's going to be, Lassie, if we all of a sudden think that this is going to, you know, beat the Trailstar, you know, obviously because we're YouTubers and we probably fib through our asses, you know, obviously we're not going to admit that this could ever be better. That this could ever be better than the Trailstar. But yeah, I mean, that pole went up. We got a pole up. At least if we can put the effort in to try and get it right, Lassie, then they can't say that we're just deliberately favouritising Mountain Laurel Designs. I prefer opening the door. I feel more secure that way. And then we'll do it up. Right, immediately. Okay, right, okay, Tony, Lassie, we found a problem. This is why I don't like doing it completely this way. We did everything exact, Dan. We did everything exact. We tightened everything up. Maybe we did it too tight, but we tightened everything up. And now we can't do the door. Well, I suppose you can, but that's a lot of pressure on that zip. Okay, it does do up. Yeah, okay, it does do up with that clip there. Okay, it's quite tight there. That's quite a lot of pressure on that zip, but we'll maybe just loosen it, just loosen it just a fraction. Okay, but it was tricky to do up. Okay, the person who said that when you do everything up tight and you saw that I had everything done up tight and you saw, you see there the zip isn't all the way down here. Okay, let's do that clip up there. Someone said that when it's done up tight, you get all the slack out. Still seems a bit slack, and it's off the ground, look. Yet there's still slack there. I'm just showing you. I'm not I'm not deliberately, you know, people have given me these tips in the comments, and we're just doing what people have said to do. It's not my fault, Dan. I'm trying. Oh, poor Dan. Oh. You've taken the short end of the stick on this one, Dan, I'm afraid. It's not meant in any... Oh, I think Dan... I don't think he holds any grudges or anything. I think he's a sensible bloke. Like I said, I still... You know, people say they get this thing drum tight. I don't know. Like I said, comments below. You're seeing what I'm doing, and I'm going to be taking this next week on to Dartmoor. I think something better than just a bit of bungee down here down would be advantageous. I know it might add a couple of grams, but I'm not convinced by this bit of bungee cord business. Well, it's maybe marginally tighter than last time. All right, now we're going to pitch the creme de la creme. Sorry, Durston lovers. Another comment that someone posted, which is kind of, you know, an interesting semi-valid comment. Someone said they did the PCT with the Durston, which I don't doubt for 1 second. But one, that doesn't stop the likes of us mere mortals comparing tents. And two, let's face it, most people who watch these videos are not going to be doing the PCT. All right. I will admit, I don't know offhand what height to set my pole. You think after all this time I'd know by now, but even for the Trailstar, which I've been using for 10 years, I still have no idea what size or length my pole is. It seems, and I usually put the middle pole in first. It's kind of just worked out that just for something a bit different, I did it that way. No real reason. Half the time with me there is no rhyme nor reason. My habit, I must admit, is just to go around and just get everything in about the right place. Before I do tighten everything up, given that we need to get the inner in, I don't want to tighten it all up only to discover, oh, I need my pegs. You can use the bungee cord. I must admit, I do find it easier. Yes, you've kind of got to get under here. You could, of course, just put a ground sheet down. I'm doing an inner, so it's more, you know, more like for like, really. But, you know, in theory, you could just put a ground sheet down here. And don't forget, once you get the height, one of the reasons why I like the Trailstar so much, not that I'm a Trailstar fanboy, obviously, is that, you know, if it was absolutely teeming it down with rain, and let's assume that you've got the height exact, and you were maybe just putting a ground sheet down, I don't have to go outside again. It actually amuses me a little bit, in the nicest possible way, when people say they have to, Lassie, go back, they have to go out for the loo. I mean, obviously if you've got to do a poo, you've got to do a poo, that's a bit different. But I must admit, when the weather is frightful, then I'm staying inside where it's where it's nice and cozy. You could put this here, you could put this at the back, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of just worked out, you know, that I've put it this way, because I tend to put my ground sheet this way and have my head, you know, to the door. So that's really why I've done it this way. But if the ground was rough here, you could put this at the back. You could put it, you could put it this side. You can put it, as the actress said to the bishop, you can kind of put it wherever you know, wherever you want to put it. Lengthen the pole ever so slightly, and this peg here will be back. That one tighter. That's it, that's a pretty decent, there. Oh God, I'm getting too bloody old for this. Why didn't you take up knitting, Tony? Oh, fuck. Oh, Christ. I will admit, getting out of the Trailstar can be a bit, it can be an event. But the benefit once you're actually out does far outweigh the fact that you do, it is a bit of an effort. So now we've got the inner at about the right height. Now we can just go around and finish tightening everything up. So we'll start with this one at the back, get that tight. Like I said, if you didn't have an inner, you would probably have done this before you went undercover. And if you knew the height, if you knew the exact height, so this peg here needs moving. What I have noticed is with the Sil Poly, you do have to get these angles pretty accurate and exact, so you can get everything tight. It's not like Cuban fibre, which is really awkward. And then lastly, just tug on that one, and then that gets everything tight. And then you just want 4 more pegs. Obviously this is pitched, you know, a little bit higher off the ground. You could quite easily pitch it a little bit lower, and that inner will still fit, because you can just get the sides closer, you know, closer into the ground. I will say I do think that the Sil nylon one does pitch marginally tighter on the hems, but there's very little, very little in it, like 1–2%. I mean, that's a good tight pitch. Oh, oh, I do like that Trailstar. I never bother. Someone did once ask whether I tie it up. You could do if you wanted to. to be fair, I never bother. It's not really that much of an issue. My head is in this area here. It's just not really an issue over there. It probably maybe just needs pitching a little bit higher. And also I don't have the bung on the trekking pole. So the trekking pole probably has sunk a little bit into the ground. So when we set it up, you know, initially, I think that was tight. So I think it's just the trekking pole has sunk an inch into the ground, and that might also have caused that sag in, you know, in tightening everything up. Okay, so let's see how easy it is to get into these two shelters. So far for weight, we know where this is definitely going to go for this video, but anyway, we'll give it a shot. For ease of access, you do just have to open one zip there, then you've got to roll your door up, although in theory you don't, and then your door's fallen down again, so that's lost half a point for inconvenience and time wasting, as if my videos are not long enough anyway, Dan. So you've got to open your door, and then you've got to find this fiddly thing here, and then that goes there, and then obviously you've then got to open this zip here. It's quite hard work. There's, you know, there's quite a bit of effort involved in stepping here, and then down there like that. It's kind of funny, that is now very I'm not deliberately finding things, I just noticed that is now very flaccid and floppy. How long did that one take? Another one. Yeah, so anyway, and then you've got this in your face a bit here. One interesting thing I know that people, and me as well, have mentioned about the inners in the MLD, that it would be better if they did a T-zip, which I definitely agree with. But to be fair, at the, you know, this is a pretty big, you know, door here. They all seem to have quite big doors, you know, where bugs can get in. Hilleberg have got huge inner doors, so they all seem to have quite big doors. But I must admit, I still do wish that Ron put a T-zip, you know, in there. Anyway, but yeah, that was fairly easy to get in. A little bit fiddly with the door, a little bit fiddly with that, but you know, not too bad. That was okay. Let's see how now you're going to fix this, Tony. So obviously with this you have your own mat. I suggest that you put a little mat down here, so that's quite useful to have a little bit of mat there. And then what you need there, you haven't got any doors that you've got to waste time with, and then you do have to sort of crawl in, but I'm sure there's some, oh hang on, where are you? I'm sure there's some health benefit, you know, to having to unify yourself. It's probably good for the knees. This inner just drops straight down, so you haven't got to tie anything up, so that also saves time. So what are the benefits so far? Dan, I hope you're paying attention. So there was no door to open, which took time. Although when you put this up against the, if we get that Solo Mid XL, then we might have to fix that rule that we've made up, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we didn't have to open the door, and then we've just, you know, we've done kneeling exercises. Oop. And then we're inside and we haven't got to do anything up. So I think from getting in and out, I think the Trailstar wins. I think Many will disagree with that one, but this is my video, my rules, so we know where this is going anyway, don't we, Dan? So we did. Hilleberg had this treatment, so I'm sure Dan can have a smile. I don't know whether Petra ever saw these videos. So yeah, so the ease of getting in and out, I think, definitely goes to the Trailstar on that one. Space inside, you know, when the door's done up, I will admit, if this was stay done up, and I don't know whether it will or not, but if that stayed up, then you've got, you know, you've got some vestibule space there. I just don't know whether I trust this magnet. I actually think a tie thing would be more secure there, but you actually would, in that instance, get that little bit of vestibule. Otherwise you undo that one there, and then you just open this whole thing up, and then this is just an open area. You know, again, you have this area here, and sure, you can put your boots in there, you could get your lassie in there, and your pack can kind of go there, but you can't. The point that I'm trying to make is you can't really do anything with it, because it's there, and your pole's here, and it's really just a storing area there. And then obviously the same the other side. To me, it's just a dead area, you know, where you're going to chuck your pack in your boots and other stuff. You kind of want more, you know, and other things you want more to hand. So it'll be interesting to see how well this magnet thing does, you know, does here. You know, that's now tighten that up. You need to put that clip across. You kind of got everything, you know, right in front of your head here. And the thing for me is you've got dead space over there. Then I've got this little bit of space, you know, here now. But then if I want more space, then obviously I've got exactly the same over there. And I think some people like that, you know. I mean, to be fair, there's the Scarp 1 and 2 has 2 vestibules, although I prefer their layout as well. I don't know. It's just, it's like a little narrow place. It really could do with just, you know, it's exactly like Chris said in his video, you know, when Chris was talking about it. You could just do with this pole angling that way. Like I said in the other video, I'm just going to be repeating myself, so you probably need to watch that one. There's not very much else I can say, you know, about it in here. It's nice, it's okay, it's all right, you know, it's okay, you know. Dan's done a good job, you know. Well done, Dan. Like I said, you know, you've done, you know, you've done a good job. That corner there seems to be quite close there. It could almost do, the inner could almost be a bit longer, you know, that way. The inner could almost be bigger actually, because there's a lot of grass. There's a lot of grass behind, you know. The inner could almost be bigger, and the inner is sagging. The inner is sagging, you know, the inner is sagging a little bit here, so maybe my pole just isn't quite long enough, you know, for here, so that, I don't think that's anything. But if you know, and you've still got a gap all the way around, right? Once you've fallen in, I must admit with the inner, the Trailstar is not that. Oh God, Tony, you're supposed to make it look like it's really. I must admit, with the inner, the Trailstar is not the most convenient. It's probably better if you put the inner at the back, and then you can kind of walk in to the inner rather than having to come around. I think I'm just very used to sitting, you know, like this. So for me, this is, you know, this is fine. I know it's a bit fiddly, but you know, for me, I just prefer it like this. But I mean, you know, straight away, I mean, yes, okay, you've got, you know, this bit close to your head, but then, and yes, I know you're going to say you've got, but then you've got a, you know, you've got an acre of space in here. My pack can go over there, my boots can go over there, I can put my cooker here, you know, my cooker can go around here somewhere, Lassie can go over there, you know, and then when I'm inside, you know, I've just got, you know, acres of I've got acres. This is just simply the best shelter in the entire world. And then inside, you know, you can sleep in this bit here, and then you've got all that room behind you to put stuff. And it's here, it's not outside, it's not behind another zip or something. You've just got everything that you need to hand, and it's just amazingly brilliant. So I think for use of space, I think the Trailstar easily wins that 3-0. I think for pitching, ease of pitching, 4-0 for the Trailstar. I mean, they're both a little bit fiddly in their own ways, but I think generally for ease of pitching, 4-0. For adaptability, the Trailstar easily wins that one, because if you've got rocks or stones or, you know, tussocks or something like that that makes getting, you know, a rectangle that has to be a rectangle that has to have all sides to the ground, then this, because this can be pitched over and around things. So that was that 5-0. You know, I think it's a catastrophic failure. Poor Dan. For the Durston, Trailstar is clearly victorious. Like we ever had any doubts. But if someone can tell me how and why, other than maybe the slight fudge that I kind of made up, you know, to get in, how how that is better than, you know, that's inside, that's, you can't even see my other arm, you know, that's inside, you know, it could be hammering it down with rain. Yes, I'm sure even when it's raining and that, you can do the door up and you're very well covered. Yeah, even my feet were inside when it was done up, to be fair. I'm going to have a cup of tea with my X-Boil now. I will say, one thing I will say with the Trailstar, the inner, the MLD inner that comes, you know, that you buy separately, it's a good, it fits well in here. And like I said, it's probably better at the back, and then you can kind of walk into it rather than the way I've done it. You know, I've done it here. The one thing I will say is, I think with the Trailstar, to me, if you're only going to get one shelter, and if you can get your head around a Trailstar, because obviously it is different to other shelters, then it will do all year round. It'll do winter in most conditions, and it will easily do summer. And then obviously you could put, you know, you could put the inner in for bugs in the summer, and then in the winter just pitch it a little bit lower to the ground, the edges a little bit, you know, closer to the ground, and you know, use your sleep system as your warmth. What I tend to do, because I have other shelters, I tend to use the Trailstar more as my autumn, winter, spring shelter, and then use one of the other ones, you know, with an inner, because I must admit, I do think that the Trailstar, I think it's better when it does not have an inner. You just have more space under here, you know, you've got such a huge Trailstar, and then whilst, yeah, you have got, you know, all of this room and everything, you are kind of constricted a little bit to, you know, to within the Trailstar itself. Obviously your feet can go out and, you know, and everything else like that. But I must admit, personally, I think the Trailstar is better without an inner. I just think there's more, you know, there's just more, generally more room here. So I kind of see the Trailstar more as a 3-season, but the winter side, like autumn, winter, spring, and then yes, it will certainly do summer, and it will do summer very, very well. If you saw my video in Wales a month or 3 ago, when it was really, really hot, and I had it pitched way off the ground with a very, very large front opening, because I pitched it differently, so check that video out. So it certainly does summer, but like I say, just generally I would probably be choosing, you know, maybe a Solar Mid XL or a Tap even. Maybe you're not in Scotland with all those bugs though. I try to be as biased, I mean, as balanced as I can be. Like I said, you know, the Trailstar isn't for everybody, that is for sure. In the same way that the Durston isn't for everybody. Maybe the Durston will grow on me a little bit as I use it more. I'll just show you these, just so you can see them. So this is the Durston poles that you can get, you know, if you don't use walking poles and you want to use this type of, you know, this type of pole, then you can get this from Durston. So it's an actual Durston pole, and then that end would go in the top. Got the little rounded thing there, which is a bit like a, but it's softer. It's softer than a pole tip, so you could put that in, and then you have a clip, so you can adjust, you know, you can make it shorter or longer as you wish, and then it clamps down with a clamp, you know, with that clamp there. So you can set it to a short length, or you can make it up to about 1.3 meters, just over 1.3. And then that folds down there like that. And you get two of them. I think they're about $70 or some $60, $70 for the two. And they're about pretty much exactly 200 grams for both. 100 grams each, which is pretty good, to be fair. Bloody trousers.